Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back for another fabulous virtual tasting. This week, we are shy a few members of our team, but we're going to make it through, and we're really glad that y'all are joining us. So tonight, we've got John Leahy, our winemaker, Rachel Fanning, our assistant winemaker and enologist, Bobby Totten, our wine club director, and then myself, Kaylin Hall, where we've got a fabulous lineup of wines that were Robert Becker's picks. He's unable to join us tonight, unfortunately, but he says that we will do it justice. So just trust in that. We've got our 2017 Counoise out of the library, the 2014 Reserve Malbec out of the library, and the 2014 Chevaux Noir. It'll be a fantastic adventure. We're excited to have you all with us. So now I pass it over to John.
Well, thank you for another wonderful introduction, Caitlin. It's awesome. I think this is the week we all might get fired. Because
I know, I'm feeling a little pressure.
Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking. Let's not talk about wine.
Oh. What should we talk about this week?
Actually, I cannot. I can't do the justice to the introduction that Dr. Joe or Dr. Richard Becker do, but in spirit of things, and in light of the fact that we are going through a second wave of COVID, we do want to just wish everybody a lot of good health. Please stay safe and sound, and also to recognize there are a lot of people in our country working very diligently, very hard to keep us all safe and sound. And to those people, we owe a big, tremendous thanks. So yeah, absolutely. So, and no, we're not going to do thoughts and prayers like you do on Facebook. What we're going to do is say thank you, thank you, thank you for taking care of us all. So cheers to everyone. Cheers. And with that note, we're going to start with the 2017 Counoise, which if you are not familiar with that berry, do not worry about it. It's not a wine that you find very often by itself. It is a Rhone varietal, and I can't remember the obscure law of 1423 that it was the year that Dr. Becker was in his residency, I think. Something, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, keep going with that one.
Yeah, keep going with that one, buddy. Yeah. Anyway, the Counoise comes from the High Plains AVA from the Farmhouse Vineyards. And in 2017, we had a tremendous weather event that was unfortunate for the Gulf Coast, the hurricane. The only upside that I can possibly say, without diminishing the downside of what the hurricane did, was keep a high pressure zone up over the grape growing area in northwest Texas. And for that, we came up with these very brilliantly ripe berries, and the Counoise was one of them. So we normally use this as a blender in things like our Prairie Roti or even in the GSM. But we decided to have a little fun, and we did this and two other wines just to give an example of wine varietals that most people don't get to taste very often. And so Counoise it is. So, and I just want you to swirl, sniff, and taste, but I absolutely love the nose on this wine. It's just fantastic.
Joe is joining us now.
Oh,
very exciting.
Fantastic.
Joe.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, John. So what are we tasting? I'm sorry, everybody. I was having internet issues.
No worries. We're starting with the Counoise, the 2017 Counoise.
All right. My apologies.
It's all good.
It happens. So John was just saying how much he loves the nose on this. Tell us, John, what about the nose do you love?
The way it smells.
It's a bouquet.
The aromatics.
It's the bouquet of worn out wet saddle leather that I really like.
Wow.
No?
Have we spoken about ethers and esters, aldehydes, all that fun stuff?
No, not yet, but I guess we're gonna now. Thanks for ruining the party. Let's make it all technical.
Right.
How about the fact that this smells like the perfumed evening on the day that you met the one person that you could dance with all night, and your heart swells and your mind expands, and it just smells perfect.
I don't know what you were thinking, John, but I was very drunk that night.
That was in New Orleans, right?
That was on the cruise.
Oh,
It was November and it was in France.
when that moon hits your eye, right?
That's right. That's right. I think we were in a fountain too. Or see,
Hey, that's the Jolie, buddy.
It's amazing.
Oh goodness. Okay,
So-
Kaylin, you've got to talk about this wine.
Okay, so when it was all first bottled, this one along with the Carignan and the Cinsault, I remember being very excited to try them all. And this one for me was my favorite. And it is, I now really love the Cinsault as it's grown, but the Counoise is something really fun and exciting to show to people because it's something that they've not heard of before. It is so easy drinking. It's got beautiful aromatics, like what John had said about a romantic evening. But realistically, it is an easy drinking red wine, which is perfect for Texas summer and well, year round, really. But I'm just happy to have it in my glass. Lots of bright red fruit. There is a little floral component to it. And it is just easy drinking and sipping lovely right now.
You're not allowed to kill my assistant winemaker.
It was just a couple of quick jabs. Worry not. Worry not.
Jab.
So- Well, Rachel, you dealt with this grape. What's your take on it?
I have to repeat at least a couple of words that Kaylin over here said. I too love this. And it's, one of the things that I remember most about when we first introduced this was not only that it's a relatively unheard grape for most people. I really didn't know what it was either until the farmhouse crew first came to us and said they were planting it and interested if we wanted to know if we were interested in it. I was like, this is amazing. This is perfect. Such a great a piece of our pie and the things that we're doing, especially with all of our rounds and like you said, the prairie roti, this is a perfect part of that program. And then when we got really excited because we realized how much we loved it, we're going to bottle it broadly correct, how light and just the beautiful fruit that comes through. And I know we say this over and over and over, but what a perfect summer wine. Something that's just nice and easy, a red wine for, people like me who are a little bit seasonal and tend to blow up like tomatoes in the hot weather with a hot wine. It's not the most attractive state. This is a great solution.
The visual, however.
You haven't seen it.
It reminds me. So Joe, what do you think? What did you think? We first got the Counoise and your take on the program now. It looks like he's frozen.
It does.
It looks like
Either
it's
that or
having some-
extremely studious.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So now we're making a program out of it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've got a
Oh.
2018 in barrel.
we
Yeah,
did.
I think we can follow up with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
very
We put the
exciting.
blend. We put the blend together. We put it back to barrel. It's back in one of the warehouses. Joe just texted and said he'd be back in a couple minutes.
cool.
Technical.
We'll be here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did. We put it back to barrel. It's back there aging in a particular warehouse that might have really good air conditioning.
Noted. I'm
Yeah.
like,
In
I'm
one of them.
curious.
What row?
Where?
And you know,
Hi. Hard to read. Lots
You
of
know,
questions.
it speaks to a really good stealthy skill that we're able to hide 110 barrels and nobody can find them.
I didn't know to look until today. So Saturday, I think I'll figure it out.
Really? Saturday, huh? Looks
I
like
think
I'm not going. Looks like I'll be here.
Waiting in the warehouse.
Right by that row.
To hide by a different row.
Oh,
Throw
yeah.
me off.
Exactly. Well, Bobby, what's your take on it?
Yeah, like Kaylin said, when this got released, I mean, even before it got released and it was in tank and in barrel, it was just such a fun wine to taste and to introduce to our palates. because it was like, wow, this is Texas fruit. This is phenomenal. This is great. And, great for summer, but then, also great for Thanksgiving. Those, cranberry notes and all that fun stuff that is the fruit with the pairing with the turkey and all that, the stuffing. It's just, it's a very versatile wine, and really excited about having this a part of our Becker wine program here. That the thankful for the farmhouse crew to, bring it up that, hey, should we plant this and to introduce this to us and say, why don't we grow this? And only had a few, people in the industry come into the tasting room and say, hey, we'd love to try out the Counoise. It's a very rare to see like single varietal, and it's like, wow, well, we got it.
Right.
And it's exciting to showcase what our expression of it. So y'all did an amazing job, and I'm really excited for the new vintages coming out too.
Perfect. So Joe was gone the whole time you were talking about him. You want to repeat that? Are you brave enough?
And just reminiscing on that moonlight and all that kind of stuff. The cruise coming up next year. I mean, hey,
yeah,
there it is.
Joe's just like, that's it, buddy.
I will. What did I know? What did I miss? I'm sorry. So there was a big storm here a couple nights ago, and the internet's been coming and going. So that's, anyways.
We were just all four of us were giving our take on the Counoise. And right when you went out, I was asking you the question to discuss the program, beginning of the Counoise, what you thought and what you think of it now.
Yeah, I think first I would start off by saying that these were Uncle Robert's picks this week, and you probably said that already. And unfortunately, Uncle Robert can't join us. He's doing fine, but I just wanted to say that when since I was little, I've always been very close with him. He's my dad's younger brother, and when I was in college, I was in college at the University of Chicago, and my uncle at the time was an investigative reporter for the Chicago Tribune, and had the City Hall beat. And he was, he's been nominated. He's an incredible reporter. He's been nominated for a Pulitzer for past work. So I always remember him as amazing for many reasons, professionally, but also, when I was in college and I was studying chemistry and I was at school, Uncle Robert knew every hole in the wall restaurant in Chicago. And that's saying a lot, because in Chicago, you can cross the street and go from one ethnic food to another. You can, the first time I was there, actually the first night that I'd come up, that they took me out for Ethiopian food, which was just, for somebody just out of high school, it was the craziest experience I'd ever had. So those memories of him taking me to those places stands out to me. But I have to say, when I think about this wine, I remember one of my favorite events that he always does, which is our Bluebonnets, Bluegrass, and Barbecue event that we've done every year prior to COVID. Hopefully that will come back.
Right.
I'm sure it will. Where he has a bluegrass band, and I hope I'm not getting any funny sounds in here, am I?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. He has a bluegrass band that they fly down from Chicago. He and his friends, Jeff, Mitzi, Steve, Eddie. I'm missing a couple others, but they come down, they play barbecue, and I think about the Counoise, and I love the nose. I feel that it lends itself to some types of lighter barbecue, maybe not as much as our Cinsault. So that's what I think of. I think about Uncle Robert. And then I would say, just thinking about our program. So as many people know, 2017, the Hurricane Harvey year, I remember I first kind of learned that, Rachel talking to me about that. I remember thinking that was pretty amazing, going out to West Texas when, we had the Hurricane Harvey had pushed that big high pressure out over the high plains, and we had this incredible long growing season in 2017. And so John had these Rhones in barrel individually, and that year, because of that incredible harvest year, probably the best vintage we've had as yet in Texas, these red Rhones were amazing in the barrels. And I think, John, your idea to bottle them as individual varietals has been incredible. I think it's really fun. This Counoise, they're amazing, and this is from Farmhouse. So we know that these are, the grape quality is incredible. But I have to say, I love tasting the Counoise, and I know that I think Robert loves this blend. I think Robert loves this Rhone style, these Rhone reds. So those are my long-winded thoughts on this wine.
Oh, I agree. It's funny because we have to start picking the wines here soon that will be on our cruise in June for the wine club cruise. We're going to start up near Lyon, Burgundy area, and then cruise down into the southern part of the country and right through the heart and soul of Rhone Provence. So, and I'm thinking, I was looking at our inventories, and I'm like, is there any way we can bring this? Because what a great treat to be.
That would be fun.
With our wine club members and the stuff. So in this wine club cruise, and I'm going to push this unabashedly, but for those of you who may not be aware of it, when you go on this cruise, we do 3 lectures on board during the 7-day cruise, and they're wine tastings and lectures that we do. And this wine paired with a nice lecture on the area, and then being able to taste some wines from the region while we stop every day to do tastings would just be absolutely fantastic to me. I think it would be wonderful. But it was fun doing these 3 Rhones, the Counoise and the Cinsault. I say Carignana, even though we know it's not a Rhone, it's northeastern Spanish. But the Counoise to me was one of the highlights of 2017, to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody have anything else to add to the Counoise? Nah, get the pun. Wow. Yeah, lame audience. 3 of you down in the cellar.
I mean, seriously.
You guys haven't had enough drink yet. Drink up. Come on. You guys aren't being loud enough yet.
Gosh, no, I mean, this wine is just phenomenal. I mean, it just like makes me salivate. I mean, it's very nice. I mean, the fruit's still there. I mean, you get the oak, all that. It's just, you can't add too much to this.
That's well said.
I have one little thing. So I do have the tech sheets in front of me for it. And I was commenting about how I'm surprised it's had this much new oak on it. From what we're seeing here, it had 73% new oak, and it doesn't, for me, it doesn't smell super oaky in any sort of way. And it's so fruit forward that I'm surprised it saw that much new oak.
It's because I'm a wizard.
I knew it.
Look at Rachel.
To talk about
yeah, whatever.
There are probably many times when, John, if you're the wizard, that Rachel's wishing that she could click her heels together and get the hell out of there. I'm sure.
There you go.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Joe, I'm pretty sure I think she probably wishes the house would have fallen on me.
You do wear, I can see your socks sticking out from under the house. Like
That's right.
Oh, Mr. Fun Socks now.
Okay, Mr. Fun Socks.
I think I've seen those pair. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, moving right along. All right, I do think we should do the Malbec next, because I think the Chevaux will overpower the Malbec we've done on the palate. Yeah. Oh, before we go though, Joe, and when you mentioned your Uncle Robert and being able to chit chat with him when he does visit down, he's a delightful person to be able to talk with. But now I'm thinking the Counoise and Chicago style deep dish. So, It's just like,
So every year, Robert sends us a shipment of frozen Lou Malnati's pizzas, which if you're not familiar with Chicago style, it's the best. And we probably go through one or at least 2 shipments a year of those pizzas. I would agree, John.
I'd like to get in on this.
Yeah.
I did mention to him the last time he was here that I wanted to come up to Chicago, visit, and have beer and pizza. I think that would be lovely. Or maybe wine and pizza, either or. I'm open.
So I'm gonna.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Rachel.
That's okay. So I was just going to say, maybe this is not quite in the same line, but I'd like to share my latest culinaria experience at so yeah, you get so used to saying culinaria. I'm like, that wasn't the right word. My culinary experience of being in Chicago when we moved our dear friend Rebecca up there, and I'm so looking forward to some of that fabulous. You ready? You right? Fabulous Chicago style pizza, and placed an order for Uber. Of course, we're tired, driving 18 hours. We make it good, and I'm pretty sure I saw the Uber driver up and down the street. And then he left. And then I checked on the order and they canceled my pizza. It was almost 10. You know what you do at, I can't remember now if it was 10 or 11. It was late PM on a Thursday night. My first dinner in Chicago with the dear lovely Rebecca was Taco Bell.
Memory.
Taco Bell in Chicago tastes better.
That
Rebecca says it was 11.
I think it was 11. It was very late. Too late to do
A diverse menu, It's like,
Right?
So I think in honor of as we get onto the Malbec, since Uncle Robert's not here, I'm going to share in honor of him maybe 1 or 2 good stories per wine of him. So I think for the Malbec, I'm thinking of a long ago when he and Karen, my aunt, had moved to Chicago. We came up to visit. I was probably 6th or 7th grade, and I'm a lifelong Cubs fan. I'll come right out and say it. And we went to a Cubs game at Wrigley Field. And it was the middle of winter, and it was probably 20 degrees, and it was a time when it was a time when Wrigley Field wasn't always packed, wasn't always oversold for every game. And we Robert and Dad and I got tickets. We were behind home plate, probably 10 rows up, and watched, if anybody's familiar with baseball, a rookie named Greg Maddux pitch for the Cubs. And he of course went on to be an all-time great pitcher, but he was a rookie. And in true Chicago Cubs fashion, he lost a 1-0 game, no run support. But what I remember most about that game is being huddled there with Robert on my right, my dad on my left, going through Polish sausage hot dogs like it was going out of style, watching just a great Chicago scene. I'm thinking it's kind of a stretch, but maybe you could make the Malbec kind of work for that. I feel like it's a great wine, to enjoy, to warm you up.
Oh, yes.
Maybe with hot dogs, but
no, I think with a good Chicago dog with everything loaded,
yeah,
that Malbec would do great on that. Are you kidding me? And every time I get up to Chicago, I actually and my wife just cringes when I say this, but I get a loaded dog.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No argument. We may have been having beer, but nonetheless, well, I wasn't having beer. I was in the 6th grade, but
whatever.
in Uncle Robert's wine closet.
Yeah,
that's right. He's actually got a good wine store near him, actually.
Oh goodness. Okay, so on to the Malbec, and I'm gonna think that would work perfectly with a ball game and a loaded dog.
Perfect.
So the first thing, and I'm going to preempt everybody because and if you're joining us and you've just opened the bottle of wine and you've just poured the glass, you're not going to enjoy it very much. This wine is old and it needs to be decanted. So I know, Bobby, you decanted yours about an hour ago or so. I
At
didn't
least.
keep mine that long. I've been swirling and swirling to get a little more air in here, and it's starting to open up. When you first open up, and this is indicative of any old vintage, it's so closed in, it's going to have some off odors to it. You're going to think, is this wine bad? No, it needs to open up. It just needs a little air. So it's in a reductive state. Though in this particular bottle, I'm getting a slight edge of oxidation as well at the same time. So, but as it opens up, those reductive scents are disappearing pretty rapidly, and the fruit is still there. But I think this wine has got to be consumed right away. This is not going to hold much longer.
John, I think I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm stopping you, cutting you off. I'm just kidding. Actually, I think that's a great opportunity. It's not often that we showcase a wine that doesn't immediately, step off the stage and say, look at me, look at me, look at me now. So
right.
Talk about those reductive notes. What exactly is it? Because I know that you just recently opened yours. What exactly is it that you're getting? What are those aromas?
Well, so the first thing that I noticed, and I honestly thought that there was a spoilage mechanism going on in here, because when I first smelled it, I smelled almost a vinyl to it, which is indicative of Brettanomyces. And there may be a little bit of Brett in there. Brett exists. It's just a little bit, yeah. It's actually going away though, so I don't think that it's the death phase. So I think it's the 4-EP-EG, so ethyl alcohol, ethyl phenol, which is what I'm calling vinyl, or almost edge of barnyard in there. So it's there. That tells you that that's actually subduing right now. It was really strong about 5 minutes after I opened the glass. It was extraordinarily strong, and I thought, oh, great, what's this going to do? It's now opening up. After the vinyl, there is a dryness. It's hard to describe. What I describe it as is a very dry, almost on the edge of like walking into a basement, 3 or 4 days after it's been closed up for a while, and it just has that not quite musty scent, but it's a mustiness to it, a dry, musty scent. That's blowing off too, and that is indicative of a wine that the fruit is leaving. So it's hit its usable lifetime age. They all blow off. There's still some fruit in there. There's a little bit of fruit in there, but there's also some darker, like raisin or almost cooked fruit notes. But the spoilage or the reductiveness on there that you get after the vinyl and that mustiness is almost like canned vegetable, and then that goes away. So, sorry?
Like Joe.
Like
Yeah,
Joe.
like Joe. Joe went away like a canned vegetable. No. Well, but it is important to talk about that because, and you're right, Rachel, we don't often get an opportunity to discuss that. It does not mean the wine is necessarily bad. It does make my heart stop a little bit. It's like, oh, crap, is this going to be bad? But no, it's been closed in for so long. And that 14 has been in the cellar for a long time. So, and I have not, in truth, I have not tasted this wine probably in three or 4 years.
Yeah,
so,
easily, several years.
Yeah. So, and then I was looking at the meniscus, and it is browning on the meniscus, which, it does happen to older red wines.
I still, though, I will say I still get a little bit of the plum notes.
Right. Yeah.
A little bit of but they're a little darker. I agree. I think now's the time to drink it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I was going to say, I still get on the aroma, there is some of that those aging compounds. There's a little, I won't call it like real soy, but it's tending into soy.
Right.
But there's still some very pretty florals. There's lilacs and violets in there.
So
you get that plum, like the stewed plums.
Yeah.
Pluot.
I love pluots.
Yeah. I had one for lunch. My pluot today died because of mastication. So Joe?
So Joe? Yes, now that you're back.
Yes. There was an ongoing battle between a Rice Krispie treat downstairs, so I had to step away and intervene.
I caught a little edge of the torturous screen, so you really shouldn't you really shouldn't suspend your children by their ankles. Like,
I know, I have to keep them chained up during these things. So
and dangling them over the pit of alligators is probably not a good idea. Yeah.
I have another Robert story that I'll share. When I was, I think like many people, New Year's Eve is often a little anticlimactic, but I think one of the best New Year's Eves I have ever had was Robert and some of his other friends were reporters at the Chicago Tribune. One was their international guy, and a couple other people had maybe 3 or 4 couples and myself had rented out or gotten a special room at a restaurant in Chinatown in Chicago, and it was just and the one of the reporters knew the owner of the restaurant from dealing with overseas family or something like that, and it was one of those nights where they just brought out, we didn't order off the menu. It was just probably 6, 7, 8 courses of just incredible food. And I remember that they my wine experience at that point, other than working in the back at the winery, was not great, but I do remember that they ordered a Malbec from Argentina that went very well with this. I remember sort of the darker Argentine Malbec that we like, what we're tasting here, what we like in the Ranger Haze. And that always stands out as like a memorable food and wine moment for me.
That's cool.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
We should recreate.
I would like to.
Chinatown, here we come.
I'm thinking back to your comment about going to the Ethiopian restaurant, and I can't help but think, in Ethiopian restaurants, you should have been able to get some mead. Instead, it's very, very big, and they're called, well, they don't, it's a honey wine.
Mead, really, in Ethiopia?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Still not when you're
Very, very
13. It's still not okay.
What?
Not when you're 13.
Well, I was 18.
Why, Rachel? Why are you harshing on him?
Because I get to be mean.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
Ethiopia also happens to be the cradle of where coffee comes from. So it's a beautiful country. All right. So what do you guys think? Kaylin, you're up again on the Malbec.
Okay, so I'm still getting a little hint of some of the reductive qualities that you had mentioned, but I'm picking up on kind of medley of fruits, maybe some stewed fruits as well. Leaning towards berries, but I feel like I say medley of berries frequently. I don't know, more often than I would like to. I need to expand my vocabulary there. There are some really lovely florals, but I'm picking up some spice notes too. Maybe something that's on the tea edge, but things that are leaning from brown spice into, I want to call it black spice, like anise or something along those lines. And I think it's actually more pleasant than I thought it would be based upon the first time I smelled it. Because initially, I'm the type of person that I pour something and people are like, it needs to decant, and I stick my nose in it. And I have, there is no way for me to stop that. But I think it's quite pleasant, and it's a lot more fruit forward on the palate than I would anticipate off of the nose. So I'm really surprised here.
It is, and this, I think this is a fun wine to really show why it's so important to decant. We talk about it frequently, but this really, it really kind of brings it home. And these are scents that I love to remind myself of too. I don't get to smell them frequently. And for somebody who loves to collect scents, and smell, I do. It's a bad habit, but I like to smell stuff. What? No, I don't like to smell a dryer sheet.
I collect the scents.
Yeah. At least,
I love the scents of the people. Keep them on.
Yeah, okay. I'll remember that next time you come walking through the cellar and screaming it. Did you smell that out there?
Yes, I collect the scents. They're in my pocket.
As a matter of fact,
Nose.
that's page 122. Okay, Rachel, what do you get besides the 4-ethyl glycol and the 4-ethyl phenol?
Casual
Those-
What?
Science.
So in addition also, that's a lot
I like it.
going on right there. There's a whole lot.
All of it's going
All
on.
of the in additions and the alsos to these,
Right.
the florals of the lilacs and the violets and the stewed plums. There's a woody note that I'm getting that I realize is absolutely attributed to the oak, but to me, it's not vanilla. It's not, the toasty oakness that you normally get. It's more of like a woody greenness. I get like a green woodiness to it. And maybe
Well,
part of
there's
it's
also-
the Malbec.
Right.
Yeah, it is. There's also the Almancera Malbec is in here from the
Yeah.
14th vintage. Yeah, so it had a lot of those bright green notes to it. And I think that's held true. I'm getting cinnamon from here, a slight edge of like a cinnamon edge,
Oh,
and that's definitely from the French oak that was in here.
Kind of get that right on the back of the palate, like it's showcasing like right on the back palate.
Yeah. No, I'm really liking this because there are more and more notes coming out of it as it gets air and as it's opening up. This is awfully fun to follow a wine as it opens up. So
Honestly, I'm surprised I'm still tasting things because I did the 1-chip challenge last night. So the Packy, the hottest chip in the world kind of the thing. So I'm surprised my taste buds are still here. So
I'm
Goes
surprised
backwards.
I'm surprised your head is still attached to your shoulders.
yeah.
But look at it this way, Bobby.
I'm getting the like stewed cherries, just right on the front of the palate. Getting that almost that woodiness, that little bit of that oak right on the finish. But yeah, it's everything else. Yeah, she said everything else in between is burnt. So
I keep getting a hint of overripe strawberry.
right, yeah,
It's just going over.
yeah, I'm getting that.
That's
On the
fascinating.
nose initially was getting kind of that almost like a cabbage right on it initially,
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The sulfidiness there is there for sure.
but it has burned off.
Mhm.
As is you.
Joe, anything further to add about the wine?
Well, I will, Robert is probably the most adept and well-equipped person in my family to be able to give my father a hard time about anything. And it has become, there's been several running jokes about wine in our family that go back to a decades old rivalry between Dad and my dad, Robert, about sports. Beginning when I was little with tennis matches, followed by wine in the hot tub, which my Aunt Carolyn has dubbed the Bubba tub. After tennis matches, to now golf matches, very heated. And there's a certain Texas winery, I will not name their name, that claims to, I don't know if they still call it, but they claim to have made a quote kick butt cab. So it has become a running joke in our family that when we have an incredible wine, we'd call it a kick butt cab. This is not a cab, obviously, but
Right.
I think it qualifies. But it always brings a smile to my mouth when we're on vacation somewhere, and Dad has brought some of our wines or some incredible wines from our cellar, and Robert will be sitting there going, Jesus Christ, what the hell is these for? This is not kick butt. I mean, or Richard, he's not doing anything. Shouldn't he be walking around pouring wine in everybody's glass? So this is a cheers to all of the. It's sort of a had to be there kind of thing, but
Right.
this is a celebration of all of my uncle is very clever. Pretty much everyone that meets him loves him, and I just have to say I'm thinking about him, and his relationship with me and Karen meant so much to me in college. And so I'm glad he's not here because I can tell stories about him and he can't fight back.
We like these stories.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's not
absolutely
where I thought
awesome.
that story was going.
No,
I was-
yeah.
I thought you were gonna
I
talk
know
about
it's
how
kind
many
of all over the
hiccups we
place.
had.
Sorry, Rachel.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was gonna say we could call it the kick butt Beck, but not now.
Right.
Okay, shall we move on to the third and final wine of tonight's challenge? Uh,
Sounds great.
okay.
So I want to ask John and Rachel before we, or just an observation / question, before I share some stories about Robert with the Chevaux Noir, but we've had now a few virtual tastings in the last few months where we have been tasting these Chevaux Noir, my brother, a couple others. This Cab Franc Merlot blend is incredible. And clearly it's a very popular blend. And the other thing too, I think I'd like to hear John or Rachel talk about is what they remember about 2014. So we've just had the 2014 Malbec, which I always remember being a great wine. And I love this 2014 Chevaux Noir. So any thoughts about that year would be great as well as we get into the crux of things.
Oh, 2014.
It was a better year than 13.
Yes.
Much better. Yes. Well, we were still down almost 50% on what we needed and expected. But after 13, getting hardly anything, it was awesome. But what I do remember is how brilliant that Cab Franc from Bingham's came in 2014. It just wasn't enough. We just literally decided to bottle the 2012 as a single varietal right before harvest of 2014, and I was very excited about, oh, good, and we might have a follow-up vintage after skipping 13, and it was great, but we just didn't have a lot, and that's when we had these brilliant Merlots too, and I think it started off with actually a conversation, Joe. We were talking about the movie Sideways.
Oh,
yeah, and the idea that if nobody got the running joke that the character, that Paul Giamatti's character in there, his favorite wine was a Merlot when he was bagging on Merlot so much. It was the Cheval Blanc, the Cab Franc and Merlot blend. And so we decided, well, let's do an homage to that. And there's no doubt that Cheval Blanc is just, it's the pinnacle. They're really absolutely fantastic wines. But there is also no doubt that Texas produces some incredible Bordeaux varietals.
Yeah.
And it kind of harkens back, and yes, I'm not giving this up. It's like a dog with a bone. I'm going to go back to an article I read in 2012, written by a member of the Texas wine community, talking about how, the Bordeaux shouldn't be grown in Texas because Texas couldn't produce good Bordeaux wine. So do you mind if I fly the Irish shotgun and say cheers?
cheers.
We can say cheers.
Cheers.
And just to clarify to those who may not have heard this before, what John is alluding to is, the famous Bordeaux blend, the Saint-Emilion Pomerol blend of Cab Franc and Merlot, the famous label being Cheval Blanc. We wanted, as John says, we wanted to do an homage. Unfortunately, because of trademarks and European Trade Union, it sort of developed into Chevaux Noir, dark horses, but I think it's a very apt name for this wine. We were talking to a local chef the other day, just how how much we love Texas Cab Franc. And Marissa Bingham, if you're listening, let me just say, you don't want to work with Cab Franc. It's hard. It's frustrating. We will gladly take it off of your hands. If you need to give us, if you're really frustrated working with it, just know we're here because your Cab Franc from your vineyard is beautiful.
Yes, it is. It's gorgeous.
Take care of it.
Yeah. Well, Cliff does a great job, and
He
the whole
does.
family does a great job with that. Yeah, no doubt. But this just absolutely brilliant. So, Rachel, you were kind enough to send me those the things here. I got to open it up. I really do want to get into the
Things that I
The
sent you.
yeah, this that you sent me. You know, yeah, the blend comps on here. Yeah, because it's the Bingham Cab Franc and it's the Diamante Doble Merlot, Jet Wilmus Merlot that's in this blend. It's 80% Merlot and 20% Cab Franc. And that 20% Cab Franc is where all those pyrazines are really coming from. And when you smell it, it just tells you how powerful that wine is.
Yeah,
And they are so prevalent today.
Right.
You
they
know?
really are.
And I'm just, if you can like peel away those pyrazines, just ignore them for just a hot second. And
Why?
those aromas, because I'm talking about what's underneath.
So many layers.
Layers, like an onion. But
Like an onion. Parfait got layers. How come it's not a parfait?
Shrek, right? Shrek.
Shrek was a great movie.
That's beautiful.
And since you already took onion, which was actually the donkey's line, I decided to go to parfait.
So underneath the pyrazine.
Anywho,
It just has the prettiest nose. And I just like
Yeah.
fresh buttered toast, which I think is amazing given that this is
Ooh.
not quite a decade old, but she's pushing her time.
Now
Actually, I
want
don't think
toast.
she's pushing her time. I think that this one will age for a little bit longer, but
Well, yes, it will. Yeah, absolutely.
that fresh buttered toast in there is just, who doesn't love that?
Let's see. We're a week 74, correct? What's 104 plus 74? A lot.
174, 178,
182.
There's going to be a lot of numbers. If you say enough, eventually you'll be right.
178.
We need to revisit this at week 182.
I'll put it on my calendar. Worry not.
Let's just fill in that space between now and then.
Our fellow watchers and guests to start counting the numbers of blank spaces in the cellar as we go.
That's a
through
good thought.
To see.
Right? I mean, like,
Wait a
minute.
look,
There are an awful lot of them down there.
Got a few empty slots, and it's not just us.
Yeah.
Whatever.
and since we've had
Just
wine
room to
club,
put some great things in there.
yeah, great things can come down. And since we've had wine club members out doing some tours and tastings and whatnot, I mean, they're purchasing a few, so.
Yeah. Oh my.
so I will, just while I have a second, I will share a one or two Robert stories here. But I specifically remember, and this involves Merlot. So January of my third year of college, we had this, one of these just epic snowstorms in Chicago, and it's the sort of thing where Dad got me on a plane flight back to Chicago a day early. So I got back a day early, and then literally, it was one of those days which 2 feet of snow, dropped within the matter of hours, and the city kind of shut down. And I spent a day, I think, shoveling Robert's shoveling snow, Robert's walkway. And then I remember we didn't want to be stuck in the house, and we got our thick jackets on. I hadn't gone back to my dorm yet. And we walked through, they live in the suburb of Oak Park, which is just a pretty suburb of Chicago. And we walked and we were looking for just a place to have a, hot bowl of soup inside. And we found this great little cafe in Oak Park. And we got 3 bowls of delicious hot soup. And Robert, who's got a great palate and good wine knowledge, ordered this great Merlot. And I just remember sitting in the, feeling warm, like I'd accomplished something with shoveling snow and walked far. And this was like the most, it's like the delicious glass of Merlot I've had. It was kind of like the end of Sideways, where sitting in a fast food joint drinking 59 Chevaux Blanc out of a plastic cup. There's just sort of this incredible sense of enjoyment just about the time and the people and the moment. I that always stands out in my mind.
That's
So
That's good. I like that.
That's
I like that you walked uphill in the snow for a bowl of soup.
exactly,
Yes.
both ways, shoveled both ways.
This has got
Your story kind of triggered a little bit of a memory for me, Joe. It was a winter. We spent a little bit of a winter in Iowa once, Jody and I did, and I had the exact same experience that it was 19 degrees outside, some snow, and watching Jody shovel that sidewalk, and it really made me enjoy the glass of wine that we had later. It was awesome. I felt very warm.
one glass. One.
You laugh, but that still comes back to haunt me to this day.
Oh, I'm sure, because if it's true, it should.
so weird. I'm so surprised.
Is it in the comments on Facebook?
What? I can't see Facebook. Why? What are they saying?
Does Jody have a Swedish shotgun she can give you, John?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Speaking of which, have there been any questions about anything? Has anybody asked any questions?
Not much. A lot of
Okay.
lot of just happy people to enjoy the wines with us.
Yeah.
We did have Susan ask if the Malbec was 100% Malbec, which I was late on that. My phone stopped updating and I didn't realize. And the Malbec had a little bit of extra help.
78% Malbec, not 100%. And I will tell you, the one thing that it bugs me beyond is when people think it's not a good wine if it's not 100% varietal. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, I just get super excited when it does. And we talked about this last week, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is
Yeah.
100%. You're like, oh my gosh, this little baby come to fruition, and she feels
Right.
all the places.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
blends are beautiful.
absolutely. So Susan, it's a good wine, and no, it's not 100%, but it has some pretty good components there. Do you need me to go back and get the blend comp, or do you have it in front of you?
I've got it in front of me.
Okay.
Would you like me to?
It's on the things that I send, those glorious little things that I send you.
I haven't, but I'm sorry. It is harvest, and I just got an updated text on sugars from one of our vineyards that's picking tonight. So I was
Oh, yeah.
Anything we
On that
anything we can
Malbec.
No,
share?
it's getting to that time of night when they're getting ready to start picking, and I'll start getting texts and then calls starting at about 8 or 9 o'clock, going to about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Wow.
So, and then I've got to be back here at 7.
For the night.
Yeah.
Such
Yeah.
good friends.
I have lots of late night friends from the High Plains who like to call.
So the blend is.
It just occurred to me that as an endocrinologist, I also get late night calls about sugar. From diabetes.
Same business.
Yeah. Unfortunately, nobody depends. I really do not have the same stress. Okay.
Great.
Okay, so she does want to talk about the blend for a second.
Oh, so we're reverting back to the Malbec just real quick. We are on the Chevaux Noir. I just think it's important. So for Susan who asked, it's 78% Malbec, 10% Syrah, 6% Cab Sav, and 6% Malbec. So a little blend there to plug in some spots. But sorry we're late on that.
And the thing is with that, I think it doesn't take away from the components of Malbec. It just kind of, it accents the best parts of Malbec, which is amazing.
Okay.
So I do want to mention when this wine first came out, this was my first real introduction and understanding of pyrazine when I started at the winery. So this was the first vintage of Chevaux. It came out, it was super exciting. And I learned about pyrazine because you do collect the smells, John. You had I don't know how else to describe it other than it smells like the stuff that makes the Cheetos jalapeno smell or taste the way it does. Anyway, it's the vegetal, whatever it is, whatever the stuff is. You have whatever stuff.
Keto jalapeno, jalapeno keto.
Yes.
I-
Well, that's what, because it's like you had the jar of the most concentrated stuff because you're doing some kind of sensory evaluation for a wine club event. And I
Right.
smelled it straight out of the jar. Once again, I will tell you guys that when people say, waft, for some reason, I struggle really hard to follow instructions. I want to smell the thing. Anyhow, that was my first introduction to pyrazine. And then you'd had it in wine, so I was able to smell it. And then this came out and I was like, oh, I recognize that smell. I know what that was. And the light went off. It was really exciting for me. And then I got to do that in the tasting room on repeat to a bunch of people. And it was the start to like me finding such a joy and understanding what I'm smelling, what I'm tasting in a wine, and being able to bring that to other people as well. And so this was a big spark for my joy and love of the wine industry. So kudos, y'all.
That's lovely.
That's cool. That's nice, Caitlin. That's awesome. Cheers.
I got a text here. So Susan, I did not mean to say you were irritating me when I said about the 100% thing. I may have come across poorly. Thankfully, I have an editor that watches everything I do. But yeah.
Hi.
Now I'm in trouble. No, what I was referring to is there are some people, not you, Susan, but there are people out there who think that 100% has to be there in order to call it the varietal. And as a winemaker, we love to blend. And Rachel and I spend an awful lot of time tasting through things and blending things and stuff. And the idea is to focus in, like on Malbec, some of the things that Malbec are known for. They're known for those stewed fruits. They're known for the violet, the florals, to be able to accentuate those. And as Caitlin referenced earlier, when she said plugging holes, the idea is to fill in the palate area, to give weight without sacrificing the varietal correctness. So that's what we discuss mostly when we're talking about blending.
Yeah.
Plus I don't want Susan hunting me down with a shotgun of her own.
It is shotgun that she carries.
Yeah, right. Okay, so back to the Chevaux Noir, as everybody discussed it. Does anybody have anything else to add to it? Because, sorry?
I think she's right on.
Good choice,
I mean, I love the chocolate note on here, the dark coffee chocolate note that pyrazine developed into. Yeah.
It's just luscious. It's rich.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is.
Really
It
is.
has such a great mouthful on it.
oh, it does. And the tannins are settling in nicely.
Yeah.
That 2014 I think it's a great Chevaux Noir.
Really.
Yes, it is.
I think
Indeed.
as we're going into this 2021 harvest, and we've 2020 was a little expressed hard. We didn't get a lot of fruit. We had a lot of Mother Nature expressed
Yes, ma'am.
dadgummit, get right. It's harvest.
It's been a rough time.
It's my default. It's harvest. It's always harvest. Harvest.
My dear Mother Nature said this was an untenable situation and we must repeat it again.
Thank you, Twain, for dropping in and fixing my words.
Foghorn. Thank you, Foghorn.
I say, son, hold on now, son.
I say. Right. Almost forgot what I was trying to say. I say.
I'll say.
Coming off of 2013, which was a truly horrific year, the stuff that we were able to capture out of 2014 really was lovely. Like, it was quite phenomenal. 2019 was a huge year. 2017, 2018, we keep talking about this every series that we're doing, right? 2017 was our banner year. 2018, I feel like we're not giving it enough credit because it was just as beautiful.
Yes.
Just didn't get its Harvey. Sorry. 2019 was huge. 2020 was not kick butt. It kicked our butts. 2021, I feel like, is very similar to the 2014, where we're recouping, and we're seeing already these beautiful, beautiful fruits that are coming in.
Yeah. Just not as much as we want.
Just never. Is it ever?
No, I don't really. We are greedy, but
We are.
I will say about 2021. 2021 is the year 2020 learned how to drink. So
It practiced real hard in 2020. I mean, it practiced real hard.
We're trying to catch up with all the inventory that we got out of this last year, so.
Oh, looks like that Rice Krispie treat went again.
I had to like quickly put the mute on. Yeah, there's yeah.
Rice Krispie treats happen to be my favorite next to gummy bears. So
Oh,
Let me see if they can.
uh-oh.
oh, yeah.
So we have to go handle the situation. I might bring them in.
Speaking of untenable situations, there goes Dad.
I was thinking of the King Solomon situation when it's like, oh yeah, that's my baby. Just cut it in half and just,
What? Whoa! What book were you reading?
I think
Samuel.
Fartiness. You just said it tastes like fartiness.
That is awesome.
Now let me just get an Rice Krispie treat and stir it around.
and then it can
Yeah.
So how old is Nicholas?
Nicholas is 4.
That sounds about right.
Nicholas is playing soccer,
Yep.
and he has a. He said he has a girlfriend at school.
I mean, with
She
that
likes-
hair,
She
come
She likes
on.
to wear cat dresses.
I
So
love that.
Good thing
Good for her. Good for him.
I know.
So proud. So proud.
You tell
So
Nicholas
do you
there's nothing
think
wrong
we
with
should
having a
have-
girlfriend who likes to wear cat dresses.
No, not at all. Do you think when
I'm
she
there.
gets home, she talks about her boyfriend who likes Rice Krispies and likes to dunk them in the wine?
That's right.
The pretty hair.
Right.
These are the things that are important.
Yeah, as a dad, be like, is my 4-year-old dating a 30-year-old? What? Look at Rice Krispies in the wine.
Hey, something I gotta try.
All right, so we know Rice Krispies don't go with Chevaux Noir,
No.
but that does bring up food. So Joe, oh,
Does he have a Rice
he's
Krispie?
back.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
I'll open it for you. This will help with the fartiness, Nicholas. All right. Talk amongst you. All right, we'll open it. I want to hear everybody's food pairings.
okay. So food pairings, I'll volunteer myself first. That way I can just get it out of the way and see the excellent commentary here. So the Counoise, my mom commented this on the Facebook feed. Thanksgiving. So this was a beautiful Thanksgiving wine. It still is a Thanksgiving wine. I've got some stash, but with this Chevaux Noir, I think I kind of want some really good fajitas or brisket.
Ooh, yeah.
Ah.
Oh, look, Nicholas giving the thumbs up. He just dunked it in.
So all it
Yeah.
needed was a little Rice Krispie treat.
There it is.
That's it.
That's what we call a parenting fail.
No.
I think it's great.
No, you've got so much.
Look
No.
at him. He is thumbs up at this. It's beautiful. It's fantastic.
And trading.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually went to a wine tasting event where we paired I think it was Fruity Pebbles.
Oh.
No, it was Lucky Charms.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Lucky
Oh.
Charms with a wine. And I was not impressed at the idea, but when I got there, I was like, okay, so that's not a bad thing. Don't rule them out. Don't be snobby.
Hey, I have in my notes, I have a recipe card for Jelly Belly jelly beans, which ones and how many it takes to make a Russian River Zinfandel, a Bordeaux style Chevaux Noir, the Cheval Blanc, one that does a Pinot Noir.
Is that a straw? I'm sorry. Is that a straw? Is that a
Is
reference?
that a straw? Yeah.
Did Richard get that straw?
That- Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay,
blind
Bobby.
propositions on Jelly Bellies.
Yeah, Jelly Bellies. But it took to do Zinfandel, it took 28 Jelly Bellies in my mouth to chew them all at the same time. It worked. So it was awesome. Yeah.
And that's when he called Dr. Becker's.
And that's when I call my endocrinologist saying, I think I OD'd on sugar.
But the Zin is perfect.
But the Zen was great. Okay, so Bobby, pear wine and a food.
Oh man, when brought up barbecue with the Counoise, so I was thinking like, so with the Counoise doing like jalapeno poppers with the Counoise,
Okay.
and then probably with the Chevaux Noir like a ratatouille.
Okay. Right on. Rachel.
Yes, and I know maybe it's because it's hot and it's harvest. I don't know. I know my last couple of pairings have been like, can you just give me the bare basics? With the quinoa, I just want a fruit and cheese tray. I want strawberries and berries and blueberries and all the cheese.
All the cheese.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, what do you think? Food and wine.
So I'm gonna say this is a stretch, but just allows me to share one of my favorite things. So every year in Chicago, Robert would take me out on my birthday. Robert and Karen would take me out on my birthday to a wonderful restaurant in downtown Chicago called Brasserie Joe. And they made the most incredible profiterole you could ever imagine, with vanilla ice cream and the pastry and the chocolate sauce. And I'm just thinking the Chevaux Noir could almost, kind of work with that. And I'm just, so Robert, I just have to say, I'm thinking of you always, and Karen, and just, I wish you were here, and I miss you. And I look forward to seeing you again. And I look forward to more bluegrass barbecue and blue bonnets and so much more.
Yep, absolutely. Right on. Very well said.
John, what about you?
Well, I'm looking at that Counoise because I like all of these wines, but the Counoise is absolutely one of my dear favorites. And initially, I thought fish tacos with the Counoise because it would go.
I like that.
That sounds
With my
great.
Did you eat all of the fish tacos from yesterday, John? Did you have leftovers today?
Jody made me some of the most wonderful fish tacos ever, period, end of statement. And this would have gone so well with I was too busy shoving them all in my mouth all at the one time. But yeah, absolutely. But I think there are a lot of dishes that would go well with this wine, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I really do. And I keep going back to Chicago style pizza. Now I am so wanting Chicago style pizza.
So I'd like to ask, because none of us paired anything with the Malbec. Is it because we're now stuck on the Chicago dog?
Yeah, probably.
That's the only thing it can ever be paired with again.
So Robert used to take me to, there was a place called Rico Baines that all of the reporters knew. It was a sandwich shop downtown Chicago that made like the most incredible cheesesteak sandwich. And I'm thinking the Malbec would work with that. Oh God.
Okay, so we have to
Truly
verify
think about
that.
it.
This is not a Philly cheesesteak with cheese whiz?
No whiz.
No whiz.
No, this is a real deal.
The real deal. Okay, so the one thing I do want to mention is, and after thinking about this for a while, I was stuck on the fish tacos, but I'm pretty sure that the Counoise would go specifically with a dish of my sister-in-law's gumbo.
Oh,
Yeah, and so now I've got to have an excuse to get up to Dallas.
I'll help you.
Probably
Yeah,
should have some
right.
grapes in there.
Yeah, check out the grapes up there.
Look at the grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Can I just want to plug a little bit. I know Rebecca's watching our comments. Are you taking a list? Not taking a list. Are you making a list? Making a list of foods that we can eat that's not Taco Bell, please?
And taking down all of the things that Joe has said about Chicago, because I will
That's
visit too.
Chicago's
100% the food that I'm talking about. It's not here. It's no Taco Bell. Next time, please.
Hey, can I show her a
You
picture of the
literally-
2012 Cab Franc?
if
That would be
you
hurtful.
if you picked an ethnic food once a weekend for a whole year, you could not pick another. You could eat a different ethnic food every weekend. Oh, it sounds like there's an emergency.
Our Rice Krispies.
Rice Krispies too. Okay, Bobby, what's online for next week?
Next week, we have the 2019 Cab Syrah Reserve that's in distribution. We have our 2018 Culinaria that we have here. And then a library wine, the 2014 Cabernet Sauvignon Reserve from the Wilmoth family vineyard. And that is actually Carolyn Callan's favorite. So that would be Dr. Becker's sister. So hopefully we might have some turnovers, that are sent our way. Possibly if she's hearing, like we're hoping.
We've only
Yeah.
been talking about him for over a year.
Right,
74,
75 next week, so, I mean, yeah. And then what was it, the running of the bulls? I think we, saw that when they were all together, we were tasting the Malbecs and they had them up there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Carolyn.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh. That's what we have next week.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I want to say cheers to everyone. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful week, allowing us into your homes. We wish you all the best of health and a good glass of wine. We will see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah, there's Joe.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Best Christmas.